Hey everybody, we are live for our April Exchange SA chat. We're here with Jerry Durham and we're talking about the customer experience. But we're so excited to have you, Jerry. Thanks for being here.
Oh, happy to be here on the night when my Warriors are going to make NBA history.
Hence the hat there. I like it. Nice. Before we get going, I just want to tell everybody that the April Pulse is out. That's our student newsletter, in case you didn't know. And this month, we've transformed it. It's now a blog. So it's really exciting. It looks beautiful. There's awesome information on there that comes out once a month. Make sure you're getting it. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter to be sure you're up to date with all of the latest information. And speaking of latest information, we've also got our national advocacy dinners underway. St. Louis had theirs last week, and then Denver, Colorado is having theirs tonight, and Fort Wayne, Indiana tomorrow. So if you don't know what a national advocacy dinner is, go to our Facebook page or our Twitter page, and we will update you on that as well. And it's also in the Pulse.
That's awesome you guys are doing that. That is just incredible.
Yeah, they're really exciting. It started off last year with 5, and now we've got around 15. And
yes, brilliant. Congratulations to all of you for doing that. That is awesome.
It is awesome. We've got a great project committee for advocacy that have just really done a phenomenal job organizing these, and awesome students, excited students all over PTA and DPT. Ready to do this. So without further ado, Jerry, introduce yourself. Where are you from?
So my name is Jerry Durham, born and raised sunny California, home of the soon-to-be World Series champion San Francisco Giants and NBA champion Golden State Warriors all in the same year. You guys think I'm a handful now. Wait till they both win in the same year. I've been a physical therapist for, I believe, 24 years now. I was saying I lost track, so let's just call it 24. I worked, just for the record, just so everybody knows, I've worked in every single setting there is except for peds and inpatient neuro rehab. So, I mean, I've been in a lot of different settings. I don't remember why I was driven to outpatient, but I went into outpatient. You know, had a really tough time early on. I did a 1-year training program. There were no residency programs really when I was looking. So I did a 1-year Maitland program through Redwood Orthopedics with Joe Farrell, who to this day is the biggest clinical mentor in my life. And really got on track with outpatient, and then decided, yeah, let's do this. Let's get my own practice. Partnered up with Sturdy McKee, and June 1st will be our 15-year anniversary of San Francisco Sport and Spine Physical Therapy. So we have 3 locations in San Francisco. So that's pretty exciting. And just for the record of, it's kind of setting the stage for tonight, we are out of network in all these clinics. And what that means is we take insurance, we take your insurance, but we are not a contracted provider. So that means the majority, I'm going to say greater than 90% of the people who walk through the door have to pay more to get to see a physical therapist at San Francisco Sport and Spine Physical Therapy. That means they have to pay more out of pocket. So they have to write a check. They have to slash the HRSA card. They have to run their credit card for more money out of pocket than literally clinics 2 blocks away, a block away. So that sets the context for where we are tonight.
Yeah, so you've really got to show your value and prove that value to those patients, because it's their money. It's not just the insurance. It's them paying it.
You are correct. And that what's important, and you guys see me talking about a lot on Twitter, and I drive home every day, is who is the customer, right? And really, I call the customer the end user. And being in Silicon Valley and stuff, we hear that term a lot. So I've adopted that term to healthcare. Who is the end user? That's what you have to keep in mind. So you're standing in your clinic, you're doing a clinical, any setting. By the way, doesn't matter on setting. You're in your clinical, you're going for your job, and you know, someone's talking about how you have to manage these patients based on a financial consideration. So you have to step back and go, okay, I hear this. Now, who is the end user here? Who is the person I need to focus on? That's going to be the patient. Okay, so let me put that at the center of my little board here and work out from there. What is best for this patient? So the end user is a really good term to keep in mind when you're in your clinicals. When it comes to customer service, patient experience.
Absolutely. That's great. Well, that just leads us right into our questions. Thank you to everyone who submitted a question, and just know that you can still submit questions as we go through tonight using the hashtag #ExchangeSA. I know we have some viewers here who are not on Twitter yet. Do you have a message for them, Jerry?
Welcome to the 21st century. Get on Twitter and search SPT and DPT and you know, and just about, DPT student is my other favorite hashtag. Solve PT is my favorite hashtag. BizPT is a good hashtag. So just get on Twitter and start searching those and start hitting the follow button, because all of a sudden you will have a gaggle of followers and great conversations.
Awesome conversations. Okay, well, Michael, who's an SPT from CSI. Hi, I have a question for Jerry. What is the single biggest recurring challenge for you in terms of customer service when dealing with patients?
Yeah, the single biggest challenge is to make sure, so think about this for a second, and again, regardless of setting, you have to have all components tied in together for someone to have a great experience, okay? That means financially, mentally, physically, all of it has to be together for that experience to be good. So the biggest challenge, and I think this gets and probably answers some of the other questions I saw, the biggest challenge is to coordinate all the team members to be on the same page, to be delivering at all times for those 4 or 5 different things that need to be delivered on. Team, the word team is not a cliche. I probably went away from it for a while. In the last 3 years, team has become a really big word. And my team is the success of my company. And my survey results, my NPS survey results prove it, because yes, 99.9% of the surveys mention the physical therapist, but also mention other components, which means my team is delivering. So that is the most difficult part day to day. So you can be doing your part. You've got to take a step back every once in a while and just facilitate and make sure everybody else is doing their part.
That's so important. And making sure that you work so well with your team, because if you're not working well.
There's your culture word. So there's another word that's been around forever, but culture. Yeah. So the better a culture, great point. The better a culture, the better you hire, then I guarantee you the better the patient experience can be, because you can map out the best patient experience anywhere. And if you're not hiring properly and the culture is not right, you're done. It's not going to happen. I can guarantee it, because I've had bumps in the road in the past.
Yeah. And as fresh PTs, as new grads, we're going in, we may not be hiring, but we are choosing where we're going to look, where we're going to work. So go ahead.
You guys need to come in with your questions. You guys need to know that I need to be in a place that's a fit for me. It needs to go, it's a two-way street.
That's right. So Gabriella, she's an SPTA. She asks, what is the best way to work on people skills before clinical rotations?
Get in a personal relationship. No joke. I did a talk at PPS a few years back called Selling, SELLING, so selling and dating, and how similar they are. Because so much of what we do every day is the same thing that makes our personal lives successful, or personal relationships, personal relationships. And it doesn't have to be a significant other, someone you're involved in that way. Your best friend, right? How do you and your best friend converse? How do you take care of each other, right? How do you take care of a significant other? That is the best way, short of getting a bartending job or being a waitress or waiter, because that'll teach you. Boy, we had that popping up on Twitter all day yesterday.
Servanthood, for sure.
The best way to learn how to sit across from someone and deal with someone is being in a non-healthcare service industry, which is a lot of stuff. So
yeah, that's great. You talked earlier about how you're an out of service network. So,
Out of network practice.
out of network. Okay, sorry. Thank you for correcting me. So how do you pitch a service that isn't covered by insurance?
Now, you said it before I had to, so thanks for the intro. Value.
Oh, and that is a question from @RJ Gattagoni.
So, and she knows the answer to this. She's one of the first PTs I followed on Twitter, by the way. So you have to, any industry on the face of the earth, it comes down to value. So, healthcare is the last one into this value realm, word, whatever you want. So what becomes important to selling out of network services, and really what becomes important to selling, here's where we're headed. So let me back up just a little bit. We have to start getting out of our mindset, cash PT, insurance-based PT, out of network and network, because we are headed down a path where everybody's going to have to deliver on value. Okay. And so what that means is people are going to have a choice. They're going to know your outcomes. They're going to know my outcomes. They're going to have a choice. So if I know I can get the same exact outcomes at Rachel's clinic as I can get at Jerry's clinic, what am I basing my choices on? Where am I going to spend my money? Well, it's no different than, I'm sorry, but it's no different than where you're going to buy your shoes on Saturday. It's no different than where you're going to choose to do, go to dinner. You're going to go online, you're going to read comments from, on social networks like Yelp, and you're going to decide where to spend your money. And that's what's going to be really important. So the value you deliver is you give people better, the outcomes, right, at a reasonable cost of a course of care. So cost doesn't mean cost per visit. It means, do I keep you out of the system? What are the downstream savings? What are the upstream savings, right? That's the value equation. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. It's the total cost. It's not.
Right. Right. So it's not the cheapest. Value is not the cheapest provider. It's the provider that can deliver and keep you out of the system. And therefore, that $1,200 you spent with a PT just saved you $50,000 down the road. So it's not about going to the PT only charges $900 for the same course of care, right?
Yeah, that's great. Riaz Mangiani. I had to ask him how to pronounce his name. He said, he gives a great question. So with the rise of the baby boomers in the future, we know that there's going to be an increased demand for healthcare professionals. So how can this millennium of PTs and other healthcare professionals approach that generation gap that presents in the thinking of our elderly? How can we efficiently communicate to improve our customer experience?
Awesome question. Hey, and by the way, you guys, just remember, that's growing. And at the same time, let me preface this before we go into that answer. You guys have to remember, I have this conversation once a week, and I think Jason Richardson from Tennessee, one of my favorite PTs ever, brought this up originally at a PPS conference a while back. And my business partner, Sturdy McKee, really grabbed it, and he really runs with it today. And Julie Fritz and John Childs, our research is showing this. I'm going to round it 10%. We're just going to make it 10%, somewhere between like 7 and 11% of the people who could benefit from physical therapy for low back pain. 10% make it to physical therapy. So that means we're tapping into 90% of the people that can benefit from PT for low back pain. So increasing baby boomers. If we increase that 10% to 20%, you think PT schools are full now and busting out PTs, it's going to get crazier. So just remember, people, this glut we call is our own created glut, because we're not getting our value out. So people understand they need to get to us. Okay. So we'll leave that tangent alone for a while. So just remember, and this is a good question. Therefore, here's the thing. Guys like Dustin Jones on Twitter, guys like Dave Reed on Twitter, my patient panel, what they're doing and what I finally figured out I needed to do after 24 years was we need to bring the voice of the patient into all of our conversations. And so the best way to figure out how am I, this 24-year-old, going to relate to an 80-year-old sitting across from me? How am I going to understand this generation gap is get involved in these patient panels, start listening to Dustin Jones' podcast. the guy is kicking ass with the geriatric stuff, just kicking ass. Dave Reed just started a brand new podcast, all patient related stuff. Mine periodically. I'm doing a talk in Pittsburgh in July on patient experience. Friday, the 2 hours on Friday is a patient panel. On Saturday, so they're going to tell us everything that was bad and good. Sorry, they'll tell us everything that was bad and good about their experience. So we're not all going to go away, right? We're going to come back on Saturday and we're all going to action item it, and we're going to look. I'm going to teach everybody how to take that stuff and create a great patient experience down the road for these people. So getting involved in these patient panels, the big hospital, Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, is having a free one-day patient panel, patient experience-led program in June. That's going to be huge. We have to get involved in that stuff. We got to reach out to the patients.
That's great. Who was that? What was that podcast? David Reed?
Dave Reed. He's on Twitter. I don't know the name. Well, we could pull it up here, but so Dustin Jones is on Twitter, and then Dave Reed.
Awesome.
Dustin Jones is doing a kick-ass job. Hold on. Dave should be right here somewhere. Yeah, because I just DM'd these guys. What is the name? Hold on. Let me pull up Dave Reed's.
Okay.
Is thevoiceofthepatient.org. So go to his website.
Thevoiceofthepatient.org. That sounds like an awesome resource. We're going to have to check that one out.
Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Dustin Jones is seniorrehabproject.com.
Yes, I am familiar with that one. That one's he's got a great project going on. It's phenomenal as well. We've just got some awesome PTs out here, and just inspiring us students to just go big.
That's the beauty of Twitter, and that's why you got to be on Twitter. I met Dave on Twitter. I met Dustin on Twitter. Yep. If I'm not mistaken, I met Jason Richardson on Twitter. I mean, it just, the stories never end.
I met you on Twitter. I'm like, this guy tweets all the freaking time. How does he do how do you do a patient experience when you're tweeting? So, okay, that's our shameless plug to Twitter for our viewers who are not on there already. So going on to our next question, this is a live question. Allison Breakley just tweeted, if a patient had a poor experience with previous PT.
With previous PT. All right, I'll stop talking.
So how do you get them to buy into PT at you as their new provider? That's a great question, Allison.
Great question. Is Allison a student or a practicing PT?
Student.
So here's this. I'm going to tell you guys a secret on how to grow your business in one fell swoop. The first question you always, on the phone, in an evaluation, God, I learned this early on. The first question you always ask is if you've had physical therapy before. Why, yes, I have, Jerry. I have had physical therapy before. Oh, by the way, they're in physical therapy again. So if it's for the same, next question is, oh, are you here for the same thing? Well, yes, I am. Oh, you didn't get better? No, not really. Tell me what you did before, because you'd be a fool to repeat that stuff, people. So thing you say to them, well, tell me what you did before, because I want to make sure I'm dialed in on what it's going to take to get you better. So tell me what they did before that didn't work for you. And by the way, whether it worked for them or not, they're going to share with you. Don't repeat that stuff. Don't repeat it. Don't repeat it.
Yeah.
They didn't get them better. They're back. Hold on one second. They didn't get better. They're back. Right?
New, yeah.
Better. So on the phone call, a customer calls in, right? Potential new patient calls in. San Francisco Sport and Spine Physical Therapy this year. Yeah, I'm looking to get scheduled for PT, blah, blah, blah. It'll come out during the conversation the way we have it set up in my office. Oh, you've had physical therapy before. How'd that go for you? Well, I'm at another clinic. I'm not really happy. The visits are too short. Oh, how long are they? 30 minutes. Well, guess what? We got 45-minute visits. Right? Come on, let's be honest. So you're listening. They're going to tell you. And by the way, if you don't have that stuff, you're not lying to them. But you have this quick in to know. By the way, you want to talk about a value equation? The visits were too short. I don't want to go there anymore. That's what they value. They value the time with the physical therapist, the assistant. It doesn't matter. They value the time. So tell them how you're going to change that and deliver on that part of the value equation.
And that's while they're on the phone.
They're on the phone, but and by the way, they're hooked. You're done selling. They're coming in, they're going to be happy. Because by the way, you're going to make a note and make sure they get seen, for the full time.
Yeah, that's great. David.
Now this is the stuff I get excited about.
Oh yeah, it's so exciting. It's changing.
Don't ask me about clinical care, people, please.
It's changing their lives, so it is exciting.
Yeah.
David Finkelstein asked, what are some techniques that you use to gain rapport with your patients? And that kind of feeds into what you just said, that you care about them. But anything else you'd like to add?
Questions. Ask questions and make them know, make eye contact, let them know you are listening. 2 things. Ask questions and then make sure they know you're listening by repeating back. So what I heard was this. Yeah, that's right, Jerry. Okay, can I clarify with you? Are you saying this and this? No, I didn't. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. And then you look down and you type your note. So questions. By the way, the biggest, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'll probably retract it. The single biggest question, you as a brand new grad sitting across from someone who you're going to have to pitch that you are the best person on the face of the earth to treat them, the biggest, bestest question you can ask them. So we've gone through some of your history. You told me a little bit about how you got here. So tell me, Mr. Smith, I want to know from you, and I'm going to ask you too. And by the way, I'm going to write this down verbatim. So choose your words carefully. I want 2 goals you want to achieve with your time with me. And then stop talking, listen, and write it down verbatim, and then clarify with him. Because by the way, he's a guy who showed up with low back pain, but his goals are to play 9 holes of golf and to pick up his grandkid, right? So it has nothing to do with low back pain. Sorry, doesn't. Yeah. So then he says, oh, I'm going to play 9 holes of golf. And so you say, oh, do you want to be able to walk that? Or is that in a golf cart, Mr. Smith? Because that's going to be important how we set up our time together. Which one?
Oh, wow. That's so good.
That is the single best thing you guys can do. Brand new. In your clinical.
Smart goal, huh?
Yeah, you got it.
That sounds smarter than the ones that I've written up.
By the way, I'm going to write here. Don't anybody ever repeat this, even though it's going to live on in YouTube. I probably spent the first couple of my years writing patients' goals for them without ever asking them. I'm not going to lie to anybody. I used to write out goals for patients without ever asking them if that was one of their goals. Because I would say, oh, this is what they told me during the evaluation. Right?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Oh, that's so good. So good. Let's keep going. We've got a lot of questions coming in on Twitter. And so Michelle Wynn asks, during #CA Conclave, a hiring manager said that a good PT is a good salesman. Do you agree? And yes. How do we improve?
And 130%, you got to sell. You got to sell your plan of care. And by the way, when we get to what 2 books am I going to recommend, you guys will hear the best sales book I ever read for a physical therapist. I read more sales books right now, and I hang out with more non-healthcare related salespeople in my life. I've been reconnected with this guy. I'm looking on how to bring him in to our conferences in a way that isn't going to scare PTs, because the guy's brilliant. We need him in healthcare, but he's a salesman, so he's going to freak everybody out. So we're just going to figure out how to bring him in, because he's going to freaking, by the way, selling as a service is his tagline, and it's brilliant. And so if you think about it, it all fits with what we need to do. And really that's where selling is moving. So yeah, we have to sell. We got to sell our plans of care.
Yeah, and it goes back to the buy-in and rapport. It is all about selling. So go ahead and tell us your favorite books. Tara Gwaltney at T. Gwaltney asks if you could recommend 1 book to eager, driven students. What would it be? So
The Customer Rules, okay? It's by Lee Cockerell, and he was just on Therapy Insiders podcast with Gene Shackelbrand. So if you guys want to get a little preview of him, so check this out, The Customer Rules. Guess where he worked for the bulk of his career? Disneyland. I love Disneyland books, and I don't like Disneyland. I love Disneyland business book. So Lee Cockerell, The Customer Rules, and it's an easy read, and it'll really get you guys in the mindset. And I mean, I just read it a couple years ago. It'll really get you in the mindset about what you need to be thinking about in a customer experience, in a patient experience. The second book is To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink. And I have probably sold more of his freaking books on recommendations than anybody else I possibly know. I love the book. He keynoted PPS this year.
Yeah, that was amazing, wasn't it? I was seeing all the live tweets like, I want to be there.
Yeah, so his stuff, I'm looking up, sorry, I'm also looking up someone else here, sorry. So yeah, so that To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink, those are the only two books you have to buy while you're in school for patient experience to set you moving forward. I've seen some Andrew Rothschild throw out a book, it's in his Twitter feed. You guys can reach out to him and ask him what customer service book they used. He said it worked really well with his staff. I'd reach out to Andrew on Twitter. But those, I think, are the best two books to start with. Because, by the way, they're going to help you with your patients in front of you. Both of those books, okay?
And they're not even written for healthcare.
You are correct. Check this out. I buy Daniel Pink's book, To Sell is Human. On page like 35, he mentions physical therapy, which is brilliant because he is a profession that has to sell to get people to do their exercises, right? So
yeah, that's right. Chris Rosari, and she's an SPT. She asks, I'd like to know the top 3 most challenging clinical situations that you've experienced or witnessed a colleague experience with a patient that made you think, man, I wish I prepared more for this in school.
I think I laughed at that earlier with you. It's impossible. There's so many. And by the way, if a day ends and you don't feel like there was something that challenged you that day that you would have prepared for more, you're probably not working hard enough. And by the way, it's not, I wish I would have done it in school. Do what you need to do in school. Get through your classes, learn what you need to learn, get through your clinicals, learn what you need to learn, and do stuff like you guys are asking me. What books do I need to read to prepare for post-school? There's nothing we could have done in school more. You know, we talk about how to integrate business education, everything. You know, I get it. You know, you guys gotta, we all gotta be prepared to take a licensing test when we get out of school, right?
Right.
So we're kind of, you know, held hostage is a heavy word, but we're held hostage by that test. So get what you need out of school and then just prepare yourself for after school. Buy the books, do those things. And every day you're going to look back and reflect. So probably the most important thing is just reflect back on your day. What did I fuck up today? Oops, A, B, and C. Okay, what do I need to do differently tomorrow to change that? Because remember, it's only a mistake if it happens twice. Okay.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Great stuff here. We're just going strong with questions on here too. So Regina Ceciliano asks, what is your #1 tip on customer, wait, did I just ask that? Customer experience to SPTs and new grads? No, I didn't just ask that, sorry. Brain fog.
You know what I would do? You know what I'd say? Forget new grads. When you go out on your clinical rotations, listen. Be very focused on the conversation. Here's what I find. So I sit in with my PTs on their evals. And guess what I tell them beforehand? I say, this is not me sitting in on the clinical side. We're not going to discuss the clinical part. We're going to discuss the words you used, what you heard, what I heard you use, and how you're going to get buy-in on a plan of care. So I sit there and I listen to an evaluation for an hour, by the way, and all I care about is words being used. I don't care about the test that we use. Now, I know you guys need that right now. I get it. But maybe go in advance to a visit and have your paper and put a little column down there and write one side, put clinical, and the other side, put conversation, so that you can look down and make a note real quickly and then get focused back on what's going on and then reflect on that and review it. What did I hear in the conversation? Words, well, you know, like, I've sat in a room where the PT said like 500 times. I was like,
oh my gosh.
I wanted to jump out the window. But at the end, then it's assessment time. It's time to sell your plan of care. Well, you know, what it looks like is going on. I'm like, we're done. Don't even bother asking them to schedule. We're done. right? So that's the stuff I review later with the physical therapist. What did the physical therapist do during that visit? By the way, it doesn't have to be an evaluation. What did the physical therapist do during that visit to make sure and clarify what the patient needed and wanted, and how did the patient deal with those needs and wants? Because those needs and wants may be, I want ultrasound and a hot pack. So how did the PT deal with that in the perspective of the patient's goals and their needs and wants, right? How did they tie it back to the patient's goals, which are important to them?
That's so good. And going back to just making sure that you're asking those questions. What two goals do you want? What do you want to do whenever you're finished here?
Thank you. Guess what? That becomes the driver of every single conversation you have the day the patient achieves those goals. And by the way, when you make them do a new exercise, guess why they're doing it? Because you told me you want to get back to golfing. So let me tell you how this exercise will get you back there. Oh, Mr. Smith, you told me you wanted to pick up your grandchild. And by the way, we're like 3 or 4 weeks out. Remember how we started with those 2 other ones? Yeah, that you progressed from. So now this is the next progression to get you squatting down every single day to pick up that grandchild.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. How could they say no?
Exactly.
Yeah. Brian Duke at Brian Duke 91 asks, do you think simply improving the customer experience can lead to better physiological outcomes, i.e. less pain?
Yeah, you want to know why, Brian? You guys want to know why? It's already been proven in the research. That's what I love. I'm not a research guy. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like reading research. As I tell everybody, my favorite research is the research I agree with. But the research has proven this. There's a YouTube video floating around that, man, you want to get a lot of PTs pissed off. It's how to use placebo. So how to use a conversation to facilitate an evidence-based practice or medicine to the next level. So, yeah, we can use it for evil and not good. I get it. But if we go into everything assuming it's going to be used for evil, then we're going to
go nowhere.
Yeah. So yes, you can. It's been proven in the research. The research proves if the patient has trust in their healthcare provider, I got other research. If the patient has trust in their healthcare provider, it drives down the cost of a course of care. Trust, one word, trust. If I trust you and you tell me I don't need an MRI, I don't fucking argue with you. That's what's missed on this whole customer service conversation. And, giving patients what they want. I'm like, it's not about the patient, it's about the doctor who didn't build a relationship.
Yeah.
Or doctor, PT, forget it. It's all the problem is most of the research is with doctors, so.
Well, you're talking about trust, and I just recently watched this great video, Renee Brown on trust, the anatomy of trust. Have you seen that?
Now you say Renee Brown?
Renee Brown, I believe. It's like a 20-minute video on the anatomy of trust, and just talks about how it just boils down to these small things like remembering their kids' names or remembering their goals. I mean, just these small things is what really, she studies trust. She's a researcher, and it's the small things that build up trust. So that's.
If you guys are on Twitter and don't follow @CancerGeek, he's a great guy. He's doing a whole patient experience thing, the 5 T's, and the biggest T is trust. And he talks about the patient experience, and we've hit it off huge on Twitter because both headed down the same direction of, look, you build trust if you have transparency, another T. All these great things that we all believe need to happen in healthcare and we think is magically going to appear when we improve technology. No, it ain't going to appear, people. We got to build trust, and number one.
Absolutely. Matt Mastenbrook asks on Twitter, can you go more into what words and phrases we should avoid? Yeah,
and by the way, Matt gets a huge shout out because he listed me as a APTA membership benefit the other day, and he mentioned this talk as an APTA membership benefit. So nice. Thank you for that. I was going to make sure and give him a nice shout out. That was above and beyond. So to be called a benefit of APTA membership was huge in my book because however many years I've been out of school, let's say it's 24 for argument, I'm a 26-year member of the APTA. So, and I've always taken pride in that, and I've always Didn't always know why I was a member, but I knew I needed to be a member. So
Absolutely.
that's huge. So thank you, Mia. Words and phrases. Well, you know, what's awesome is if you read a lot of the pain science stuff right now that's so popular, which I know you guys are probably, which is popular for the right reasons. If you guys are reading a lot of that, then you're seeing a lot of words and phrases that you shouldn't be using. Here's the thing. I'll tell you, instead of talking about words we shouldn't use, let's talk about words we should.
Okay, let's do that.
We should use. I have never used the word you and your more in my life than I have probably the last 3 years. So everything is for you. When you're on the phone with me and I tell you I'm going to do something, we don't do it for everybody. You know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to check your insurance benefits, and I'm going to get you your insurance benefits, and I'm going to get you the cost of doing physical therapy with us. Your appointment's on Wednesday, so can I get those to you on Monday? Would that be okay with you?
Wow. Yes.
Great. So I'll get back to you then on Monday with that, right? So the word you and yours. So you're sitting in that evaluation. So what can I do for you, Mr. Smith? Tell me what's important to you. You know, tell me about your pain, blah, blah, blah. The me thing and me, you know, this thing occurring in the evaluation room has to stop, right? Let's just put it here. Actually, a little bit at the start, let's put it here. Let's put the patient in control of that all. And then we're going to shift ourselves up as we learn more about them, right? And as we make our assessment. And they're going to look to us, by the way, don't be confused. They don't want to be here. They want to be here, right? But we're going to talk to them like we're here. They want an expert. So don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you don't be the expert in the room. What I'm telling you is you don't have to talk about how you're the expert.
Wow.
You don't use a lot of words they don't understand. By the way, listen to the words they're using and just use the words again. Even if it's not the anatomical words you learned spending $1,000 on your profession. Just use their words. Who cares? Who freaking cares?
So what are some of those words that your patients have used?
Oh, shit. Some of the the most popular word to this day still is rotor cuff, right? The rotor cuff.
So you say that? You really do?
Yeah, I'd say it back to them. Right. Well, let's face it. You're not really gonna, right? You're gonna talk about muscles and stuff. Yeah. But if you refer back, oh yeah, your rotor cuff.
I mean, oh my gosh, that's
I might say in the eval once or twice, oh, your rotator cuff. If they keep calling it the other thing, who cares? Who cares?
It's the rotary cup now.
So again, use their word, use you and your a lot, what's important to you, and lots of questions. So anything that's a question, what's important to you? Have you had, what's worked for you before? And don't argue with them when they tell you what's worked for them before. If acupuncture worked, don't fucking argue with them. Don't start spewing out the research. People don't want research. There's a take home, by the way. We're 38 minutes in. People don't want research. They want health. They want to get back to picking up their grandkid and playing 9 holes of golf. Don't give a fuck what the research says. So you're going to practice evidence-based medicine, but don't think that's the sell. That's not the sell. That's not the sell. Because by the way, if it was about the research, we wouldn't have type 2 diabetes in this country, or nor most of heart disease, right? Yeah. We got to sell the solutions. We got to sell health. We're not selling health. So
that's a good point. Scott McAfee asks, would you recommend observing? What was that?
I'm kidding, Scott McAfee.
Would you recommend observing front desk operations during a clinical rotation? And I didn't prepare, and I need to go run and grab my charger. So I'll be right back.
I'm not going to answer that till you get back. I'm going to tell a story about Scott, and then I'm going to answer that question. So Scott McAfee asked that last question, and I love that. Scott McAfee is the only student, or one of two students who actually, when I was talking at a conference once, changed his PT schedule, and I believe even moved a test so that he could come hear me and my business partner talk at a conference in California when he was attending classes at USC. So Scott always has a special place in my heart because he moved a test so that he could come and hear me and my business partner and then spend the day with us at our conference. So Scott's always got a special place in my heart. Yes. Brilliant question. So I spend most of the time with my I call them my frontline team. So that's your front desk. That's the person doing the benefit checks. That's the people who play a huge role in the patient arriving into the clinic. Okay. So there's frontline team and there's physical therapists, right? You will learn so much from the frontline team. People will come in and will talk to the front desk and will share information with the front desk that they won't talk to the PT about for reasons I don't know. But you know, how the front desk handles money, how they handle the phone calls, how they handle questions about billing, all that stuff. Again, remember I told you, listen to the conversation with your CI and the patient. You want to listen to the conversation and go, how could that have been better? Why was that good? Why was that bad? You'll learn so much from that, Scott. So I still spend a few days a month sitting at the front desk. And I love sitting in my waiting areas of all my clinics because I can hear the front desk and I can hear the PTs. I learn more sitting in the waiting area of my clinics than I learn anywhere else in the company.
How often do you do that?
A couple times a month.
Oh, that's good. That's
and I just sit there on my phone like I'm texting. I'm probably tweeting. But
he's on
because you can hear phone calls, you can hear how they deal with patients, you can hear the PTs greet their patients, I can hear the PTs working with their patients. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that would be really interesting to do too if you're going to look at getting hired at a certain.
Brilliant idea. So go to the waiting area. By the way, if you come in for an interview, I'm going to tip you off right now. If you come in for an interview, who gets asked first about you? I go straight to the front desk person that you came in and talked to. I've had people come in and be rude to my front desk.
No.
And then kiss the ass when they come in for the interview. Yeah, that ain't going to work out. We've never hired those people.
Oh, that's really good.
So how were they when they came in? They talked to you. What did you guys talk about?
That's awesome. I would have never thought about that. So that kind of going along these same lines, Gabriella asked another question. What is the top quality you would look for in a PT or a PTA as far as character, personality, people skills, basically the non-PT stuff?
Yeah, I want to know. Well, I'm going to dig and find out what you did. What's happening currently in our profession is I'm running into people that are sitting across from me that are interviewing for their first job. First job, not first PT job, first job. It's happening too frequently. I'm not going to hire you if it is your first job. I want to know you did something. And by the way, did something? Yeah, I used to mow lawns in the neighborhood. Oh, that's fine with me. I used to have a newspaper delivery route. Okay, cool. That's busting your ass, right? But when you come in and I start, did you work, and by the way, you didn't work in PT school. I get it. I'm going to start digging though. What'd you do in undergrad? Oh, I didn't work. In high school? No. What about during summers and winter break? No. It's going to be a short interview, people. So what I'm looking for is what were your experiences before you got to PT school? We kind of had this before, right? People, bartenders and waitresses and waiters, and I worked retail in Ann Taylor Loft. I used to, I used to hustle around and clean, my dad worked in a big building. I used to go in with my dad after work and clean the office for extra money. Whatever it is, those are the stories that are going to tell people about you. Because your clinical skills, by the way, people, don't be fooled. I can get your clinical skills anywhere. So there's got to be intangibles. What did you do? What are you going to do for that person sitting across from you? Extra.
Right. Above and beyond. Those are the people you want to be working for you and under your name.
Right.
That's good.
Because by the way, real quick, the best way to grow a company is to acquire a loyal customer. And a loyal customer is someone who believes in you and walks away and tells everybody else about you, right? So if I want to grow my company, I have to develop loyal customers.
That's good. And doing that based off of all of this stuff we're talking about. Jay Bott asks, let's see, question for the tweet chat with Jerry Durham. Interested in hearing his take on networking in PT and its importance to the profession.
Had this discussion recently on Twitter, I believe, with that same young man.
Okay.
Oh, networking's huge, and I think we screw it up, and that's a little bit what I shared with him. You got to get out. You don't have to be an extrovert. By the way, Twitter is the best place to be a introvert and to network. Lurking on Twitter is completely fine. Hanging out and finally following someone and going, okay, this is someone I want to interact, when you waited insanely long time, unlike me, who reaches out in the first 5 seconds. Hey, you're cool. Can we meet? Can we have coffee? I get it. But, so get on Twitter, lurk there, but you have to show up. You got to show up eventually and meet people face to face and have a conversation. And networking at conferences, networking of, I won't tell you who I had this conversation with, networking at continuing education companies and people that offer continuing education have to start integrating this together. An opportunity for you and I to have a conversation outside of you lying on a table and me doing a joint move on your shoulder, right? And going, oh, okay, lunch is on your own, dinner's on your own, we'll see you guys back here at 8 a.m. That's stupid. No, and build in some time. And by the way, take a couple of hours out of the course and build in a happy hour and build in we're going to go bowling. Yeah, that's what I love to do. So in Pittsburgh, guess where we're going on Sunday, people? We're going to a freaking Pittsburgh Pirates game, if you know me. And by the way, I didn't schedule the Pittsburgh thing. I didn't schedule it around baseball, but we scheduled it and then pulled up the Pirates schedule and we were all like, rock on, we're going to a Pirates game.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
So okay, what are we doing wrong? You said earlier we were doing networking wrong.
Oh, we kind of wait. Well, so we as individual groups, we show up at conferences and we stick to our own little group, right? Oh yeah, we're having a student networking event. We're having the orthopedic section networking event. We're having soon not to be women's health. By the way, there ain't no better networking than the women's health group. We're having the women's health networking group. They reach out pretty well. But we all stick to our little group. So this was my beef on my patient panel, right? I put together a patient, and it's not about me. Sorry, everybody knows it's always about me. It ain't about me. When you put together a patient panel, you don't have it opposed by 6 patients, right? And that's what I'm striving for next year's CSM. No. Get it unopposed at least by half the groups. There shouldn't be a group of people sitting and listening to ACO research when we got patients here telling us how to be better physical therapists in our profession, right?
Yeah.
So we have to break out of that section mentality. By the way, combined section meeting. Let's combine the section.
Right.
We all have our individuals. Why do we all go to combined sections meeting and hang out in our little cliques? No, you got to break it up. That's what we're doing wrong. And that's what we do. Oh, students. That's why I love the students who are willing to reach out. Mitch and Scott, you guys, and God knows who else on here that I've met.
There's a lot of SPTs, SPTAs.
Brian Smith, right? All these people reaching out.
Oh yeah.
I had a call with a student right before I got on here who's moving out to the Bay Area, trying to help them out.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's and then that's where networking leads us, right?
Yeah.
Valerie B, SPTA, asks, my observation is that new PTs or PTAs are generally highly motivated and ready to cure all of their patients. How do you get seasoned therapists out of the complacency, perhaps instilling the new life in their delivery of individual care?
Well, we're back to that culture word. There has to be a culture within the environment. There's got to be a stimulating culture. And Daniel Pink wrote another great book called Drive, which addresses this. So how do you look for these people that are driven? And it's not always money, right? So step one is you as the individual have to be self-aware and understand what's important to you. Step two is you then, like you've alluded to more than once, you have to choose the right employer that's a fit for you, right? So we go out and we go, you know what makes me sad is you guys get out of school with so much debt. I would not challenge anybody who said, look, I'm going to go work in this environment because it pays the most amount of money. And I'm going to work there for 12 months and I'm going to pay off as much as my debt as possible. And during that time, I'm going to network like crazy. I'm going to build my network. I'm going to do all this research. I'm going to get everything I possibly can clinically out of this while I'm getting paid well. And then I'm going to move on because I need to pay my bills off. but there are far and few between who will admit that. So if you admit that to yourself and you're self-aware, that's step one. Then go out and look for that right fit.
Interesting.
So it's all about culture.
Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. That's all of our questions from Twitter and Facebook, except for
I'll go. I got some stuff I want to wrap up with that I was saying.
Okay, that sounds good. Our final question, though, show us your mad sock game, Beth Horn says.
Oh, shit. Hold up. I'll be right back. You guys discuss them.
Okay. Well, guys, I just want to tell everybody thanks for being here. For those viewers who are not on Twitter, you should get on Twitter. Join the conversation. There's great things happening on there. Be sure to follow at APTA SA on Twitter, and then we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/APTA SA. Join the community of student physical therapists and student physical therapy assistants. We're excited to be in this profession right now, and just the more conversations we can have, just like this, just like we're having tonight. Really
ran into my
moving. All right, let's see.
I just ran into my sock drawer and grabbed out like 3 containers of socks. So here you go.
That's perfect.
So there you go. And by the way, this is only like 3 of them. So there's my, and by the way, that's 2 rows deep. So you got to dig down to get to the bottom.
Oh, wow.
By the way, you will know they're color coordinated and seasonal coordinated. Those are the crazy blacks with this one snuck in today. And then here are the browns and pinks together. So there you go. Yeah.
Wow, that is definitely a mad sock game.
It's for real, people.
It is. When did that all start?
So I got something for you guys.
Okay, go ahead.
Talking about with this sales guy that I met this week. So the whole thing is, right, ABC, always be closing. There's that awesome YouTube video from Glenn Ross. And so those days have passed. So instead of selling to close, this gentleman I was referring to earlier, selling to serve, right? So the key points of selling to serve, because we have to see ourselves as salespeople, are it's a win-win. It's not a win-lose. It's a win-win. It's customer/patient driven. Hold on, what's this say? It talks with you instead of at you. So with you, remember that? I was saying what's important to you. So instead of telling you, these are my credentials, here's the evidence, this is what I'm going to do to you, it talks with you, right? Leading energy instead of controlling the energy. No rejection. There's no rejection. Tell me no. Tell me you don't want to do that shit. Tell me it's not working. I'm not going to take it personally. Abundance driven instead of scarcity driven. This is kind of cool. Oh no, you can't get this anywhere else. No, right? I only have so much time, blah, blah, blah. No, it's how can I build abundance? Congruency required. So that means congruency between me and you, right? There's got to be a fit. And then lastly, it opens relationships. It's not closing a deal. It's, oh my God, this is the start of an awesome relationship. And we can call it a clinical relationship. Some people hate the word relationship because it has to have professional or clinical. I get it. Let's just call it a relationship. I have personal relationships. I have work relationships. I have patient relationships. They're all relationships. And by the way, the same shit controls them all. So let's not lie to ourselves here. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys about selling.
Great.
And by the way, if you guys want a great definition for customer service and patient experience, just Google customer service Wikipedia and read the first sentence. Google patient experience Wikipedia, read the first sentence, because really that's what it's about. The patient experience is the whole map from start to finish. And really there is no finish in the patient experience because we stay in contact with all of our people. And we don't call it discharge. You don't discharge a patient. They're through their course of care. They're better. So stay in contact. 6 months later, Mr. Smith, how you doing? Right?
Right.
So patient experience never ends. Customer service, it occurs within the patient experience, okay? So there you go.
That's wonderful. Well, thanks, Jerry. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close?
Tonight, the Golden State Warriors will be the first team ever to finish a season with single-digit losses.
Thank you.
And if you believe your baseball team's going to be playing in October, they're going to lose to my team, the San Francisco Giants. So those are really the only important things in life, right? So yeah, it's all this other stuff we talked about. Giants, Warriors.
There you go.
Now, I know you guys have great questions. Those questions were awesome. I could sit in a room full of other PTs and they would fight everything and they wouldn't believe their customers. And why would I read a book called, To Sell? And you guys are on the right path. Keep asking the same question, dig deeper, search out people. When 4 people say you're wrong, you know what? Just kind of step back and reflect. Don't take it personally. Try to figure out how does what I'm asking fit into the big picture. And by the way, if everybody who told you you're wrong is doing things the old way, then guess what? You're right. Because the Einstein quote about doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, that's going to dominate your profession. And by the way, when that person walks in for the 10th visit, one of those PTs in the clinic is doing the same thing over and over and not getting better, you're going to have to step back and go, this is insanity. This is stupid. Right?
Let's try something new.
And customer experience is something new. Experience is something new. So just be thinking ahead. There is no in-network, out-of-network cash practice. It's about delivering an outcome. It's about delivering value. It's about finding out what's important to that person sitting across from you and then moving on from there. We love to freaking share all our shit of why we're so important. And then, oh, by the way, what's important to you 20 minutes later?
No. We got that backwards. Well, that's great. Jerry, thank you so much for being here. And I'm sure all of our Twitter people already know, but those who are going to be joining Twitter after tonight, you are at Jerry_Durham PT on Twitter.
Really difficult to find. What's funny? When I got on Twitter, it was all about no personal, right? Oh, everything. Don't use your own name. Set up private accounts. I did everything. Thank God. Is that guy Pete? Is that guy?
Yeah, that's my husband.
All right.
And he's a year ahead of me in PT school.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Why the hell wasn't he on the chat?
Well, he was watching in the living room.
All right.
I'm going to say hello. He's like, oh my gosh, don't make me be on camera.
Nah, that's all good. I'm giving him a hard time.
Well, everybody, make sure you mark your calendars. We're going to be talking with Keaton Ray. She's a new grad, relatively new grad, and she was on the Student Assembly Board of Directors a few years ago, twice. So she knows all about NEXT, which is our next conference coming up in Nashville, Tennessee. Everybody coming to my state. We're going to be talking about preparation for NEXT, what to expect, what to pack. We know from our CSM talk that water and comfortable shoes are always good, but
snacks.
And what? Oh, snacks. Yeah, for sure.
Real quick, I want to plug something here. So yeah, I'm talking in Pittsburgh, late July. Go to Embody, EMBODYPT.com. Go under their professional courses. I'm going to be talking patient experience. We have a patient panel in Pittsburgh in July. It's the 3rd week of July. Then I'll be in Chicago with Jeff Moore, which if you haven't signed up for this, you're missing the boat, people. I'm going to be in Chicago with Jeff Moore, 3rd week of May. I don't even think we scheduled this around the baseball game, which shows you how fucking important it was. So Jeff Moore and myself will be at Entropy Physiotherapy. Go to their new awesome website, which Ryan Smith helped to develop. Go to the professional path, and you'll see all the awesome Con Ed. There is no better Con Ed from front to back than Entropy Physiotherapy is offering. And then I think those are the only 2 things I have scheduled. Yeah, those are the only 2 things.
Well, thank you so much. Everybody, the April Exchange Chat is on Thursday, May 12th, and that's at 9:30 Eastern Time. Mark your calendars, and we look forward to seeing y'all then. I'm Alexis Morgan, your Director of Communications, and we will see you on Twitter and catch you later.
Bye-bye.